Hello everyone, FiFi and Sam here for another Midweek Musings. We had a little break last week, a little hiatus. So I basically stepped back from just a little one. I stepped back from social media basically for a week, which was very much needed. Yeah, it's been an interesting week this end. How are things going with you?
Do you know what, you ask me that every time you ask me that when we're doing our musings. I always feel like I want to say something other than like just no, just I'm just in this constant state of just turmoil and turbulence and just you know continually trying to embrace the good, deal with the bad, and kind of roll with it and get on with it. That's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, it's it's a struggle every day. But I love that though.
The little balloon is from our second standiversary in St Albans. We had all the balloons and stuff, and he's now become a very handy little stress ball.
That's nice.
He's
That's
got,
nice. My
yeah.
kids popped all of ours. I brought them some home from ours, and
yeah,
they
the dog
popped
got most of ours, but this one survived, but not much longer. Yes, it seems to be just a collective
yes,
at the moment.
Yeah.
We're never in this on our own. We keep saying it does feel like we are. It has felt,
and it does feel like it's just going to drag on forever, but it won't. It won't. I'm.
It's peaks and troughs. I mean, I've really noticed this week, or the week just gone. My God, like when you talk about it, feeling like a yo-yo and a roller coaster. I mean, honestly, within the space of an hour, it's just, oh my God,
and it's
like how do you
exhausting
get a
too,
handle on
isn't
it?
it? It's
Absolutely
just
shattering.
exhausting.
Shattering. It's this. I've talked about it over and over and over since this all started, that we would be confronted with our biggest fears. Many of us have been being confronted for decades, but have managed to do the little dancing around it. Where you sort of dip in, no, then out, and it's you're back on track seemingly, and then you get, it's been the roller coaster, but way more spread out. So you might have a really crap year, but then you've had a relatively calm next couple of years maybe, or it hasn't been this. It reminds me
It
of
does
like
feel
a
very
heart monitor,
condensed and
like,
very intense. Intensely condensed is perhaps.
Yeah, that's it. And it just feels like it's getting to the point where you just can't run away when your greatest kind of fears are being reflected back at you from, out there, whatever's taking place out there. It's triggering constantly these things that we have been turning away from for a long time. It's intensely personal and individual at the same time as being absolutely impersonal and a collective thing, this collective energy. It's just
Quite
we're
universal.
going to process it in a way that is personal to us, and we're going to kind of rationalize, I suppose, and I feel like this because of that, which is true, but at the same time it's like all of the things that have happened, that we've experienced, it's because we're in this frequency where that can manifest. And I think that it's the discomfort now, isn't it? It's this struggle, we've talked about it, where it just feels like you just
talked about to death.
I know. I mean, my God, we're not saying anything different, really, but it is just that journey, isn't it, where you keep going there, circling back until the circles are just getting smaller and smaller, and you really cannot avoid what's happening in your life anymore, how you're feeling. And of course it's all, like I said, it's been reflected back in the seeming, like the circumstances and situations out there. It's this loop, we're creating it all, we're feeding it all, and it's getting closer and closer to that point where, yeah, you can't run away from yourself, because in the end it's all about how we are feeling, really. If you're in a permanent state of anxiety and fear, and where's that come from, what we're in, it's like a toxic soup.
I mean, we've
it.
as we always do, we've had quite a bit of a natter this morning, haven't we, before we started recording? And I tell you that this woman, she's very wise. She's very wise. That difference between, you know, you've got, we talked about certain situations that are causing us to be anxious and to feel all this kind of density and struggle, and that actually, you know, we can feel like it's the situation that's doing it, but actually it's got a lot to do with unconscious and perhaps hidden triggers that we have within us, and sort of our own thought patterns and the way in which we deal with situations, that actually we kind of need to face those, because these situations are always going to arise. You know, we're going to go through life and be presented with difficult situations, and actually it's how we deal with them, how we approach them, and how we react to those that sort of discern how easy or difficult the situation is. Because I was sitting here with the situation I'm in, like, yep, it's that. Once that is resolved, it's all going to be fine. And Fee was like, well, so damn you. Okay, yes, you're right. There are certain things within me. You know, I think, and I think a lot of us do have it, the values in society we get, and the habit of everybody sort of with the judgment and you know, all that kind of stuff that you kind of get. A lot of internalization. So yeah, I think we are sort of both in this very up and down,
Immensely up and
inner
down.
work. We're going through it and trying to do the inner work to kind of come out the other side, to be in a place where, regardless of the situation we're in, we can handle it. And
Yeah,
one day we'll get there.
of course we will. We have to. But it's just
Either that, or we'll just blunder through life like crazy pinballs, bouncing from one disaster to the next.
That's what it feels like at the moment, to be
Tell me about it.
honest. But that's why I needed to step back and cut back on the distraction and the sort of responsibilities that I've placed on myself around, you know, maintaining social media and all of those sorts of things, and just getting sucked in, feeling powerless, knowing that I'm using it as a distraction. And do you know what? The dog is whining. Give me 2 seconds. I've got to let him in.
Dogs, cat.
Dogs are just driving me mad at the moment. Hold on.
They say never have children or animals, but you know. I've been not stepping back from social media quite so much, but I've been still keeping up with. Some people might know. I do a morning message where I try and find a positive, kind of inspirational kind of approach to the day. I occasionally post it on the Stand in the Park page, but that's not so much what the Stand in the Park page is about. Obviously, Fee and I have got our page, A Cup of Tea with a Sam and Fee, and every morning I put it on there and on my profile. And actually, I find it a really helpful way to start the day, and it's possibly one of the reasons I'm still hanging in there.
And
I pick a
many of
little
us.
meme.
Thank
Sort of
you.
like an inspirational quote or whatever it is, and then I kind of expand on it, and it helps me to reframe the day. So whatever mood I've kind of woken up in, which is often a I'm tired, I don't want to be awake, and heaviness, and yeah, I try and transcribe that with a kind of happy, no, not necessarily happy. Happy is the wrong word, but a more kind of, yeah,
It's
loving
very, very
approach to the day.
therapeutic.
It is.
Therapeutic,
It's
I
my
find.
therapy. It's
Mm.
my therapy. And I do find it really helps actually. So I think, yeah, find something to do in the morning that takes you out of that heavy place. Although to be fair, I did it this morning and I sunk straight back in once I'd done it. For about half an hour, I was like, yeah, because the one this morning was about how, we are enough exactly as we are. And we've got to learn to be patient with where we are and how we're doing with things. And when we're struggling, all we can do is our best. And that's good enough. And, for about half an hour, I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm doing my best and that's enough. And then it was kind of like,
I think, but isn't this has got to be a sign that everything is speeding up?
yeah, a
That
lot of
the
people are
inner
saying that.
work, whatever it is you want to call it, whether it's, conscious stuff that you're doing or it's just kind of unraveling in its own way. And it does feel like bloody unraveling a lot of the time. But it's happening. Everything is speeded up. Everything is happening. Milu, so I'm getting very distracted. The dog has got one of my one of my little toys. It's quite sentimental actually, and he's throwing it.
I was going to say, I was going to make a naughty comment about toys.
Not one of those toys.
All right, sorry.
Um, yeah, this speeding up. I think everyone can feel it. That everything is just.
It
It's
is.
like the accelerator's being pressed, and everything's revved up, and it's just like
Warp
if
speed.
you yeah, it is warp speed, and if you don't.
I warn you, I feel like I'm going into, sometimes I get like stress induced hysteria where I go into a really weird mood and start tickling. And I feel like I'm heading there.
And I need a bigger ball. Story of my life. Anyway, um,
Anyway,
moving
moving
swiftly
on.
on. Moving swiftly on. Oh God, I have to say, there does, on a slightly more positive note, where it doesn't feel like everything's literally on our shoulders and it's all on us to heal ourselves. We with this very kind of um like 3D attitude, like we must do, and turning everything into a chore. I have felt this sort of shift, I've found myself doing things that are good for me out of the blue, like without this, oh, I should be doing that, or oh, I must start doing, because I've been thinking that way for months and months and months and nothing's happened. And I've just found this sort of spontaneous um yeah, like just reaching for things that are soothing and helpful for me, without that kind of pressure. It's just things happening naturally. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on that's outside of, we're being helped, there is this shift towards awakening, um or whatever it is. I don't know, we have all these different words for things, don't we?
We
But
do.
whatever it is, we can all feel that we're moving towards, that there is something that's beyond our individual energy, if you like, that there is a sweeping along, um
Yeah. I
which
think
kind of
I'm
takes the pressure off a bit of like that. It feels like I'm being guided whilst being absolutely sort of schizophrenic throughout the day as well. Like there's no other way of, I mean, literally I can go from like this like really piercing sense of joy, you know, because the sunlight has shone in a certain way on a leaf, and I've noticed this and that, and you know, I had this really intense moment the other day over a bit of moss on a wall. Don't ask me, you know, just like this, these moments, and absolute joy to be alive and feeling this incredible connection. And then 5 minutes later, palpitations are back, the anxiety. It's like we're swinging from this high to this low. We're being pulled back down, and then we're out, and and just trying to get through the days is insane.
Yeah.
And it's oh,
I don't know. I find because I don't know whether it's coming from a guidance place or whether it's that I've learned a lot because my life it's more internally, like, you know, externally we've all had our hard times, but I've had no more. I don't think I've had too many more struggles than anyone else in particular, but um feeling low and struggling within myself is something that's very familiar to me. And um I am now very much in a place of when I have the opportunity to do something that brings me joy, or um, as I'm going about life, I'm sort of almost, you know, more attuned to
mm,
finding those moments
same.
that kind of do bring joy, and
Yeah,
actually just stopping and like
yeah,
being in that moment, actually
mhm,
cherishing those times when, you
yeah,
know, all that inner noise quietens down and actually
mm,
you do just feel that. And this is what it is to be alive. Like
yeah,
this is joy,
mm,
this is a beautiful moment, and actually,
mhm,
you know, really just taking the time to kind of bank that.
yeah,
So that's sort of where I'm at. It's and I am trying to do, you know, more things that sort of do that. Saturday was good. um
yes, yes. I was going to ask how, because I've been out of the loop really completely for a week, um, and so I've not really kind of. I'm actually trying to not just go back and catch up on everything. It's like I'm going to hear the things that I need to hear,
yeah.
and you know, so I'm not doing the scrolling back, because then it's just like, well, I'm just cramming a week into a couple of hours, the week that
Yeah,
I was meant to be taking away. But yeah, I did want to hear about how Saturday went.
I mean,
Um,
it was I for me, I hear all this. There's always so much noise about protests, and either, you know, oh, they're good, they're bad, they don't do anything, they're useless, they're pointless, they're great, they're wonderful, they're the catalyst of change. My personal view is I don't know. I think they have the potential to positively influence events, and I do think they have a power of their own. Um, in terms of affecting change. But actually, um, for me, a massive part of of the protesting is that actually, for me, the the energy of thousands upon thousands of beautiful souls that really do give a shit about, you know, what the world has come to, and the events that are happening, and actually have that intention of affecting positive change, to me, is the most important thing about protests, because we all have lives. We don't live in an echo chamber where we have lots of people that feel the same way we do. And um you know, it can sort of bring you down looking at the world, and there's all these people, even with all this truth coming out, well, I mean, they're half truths and sort of,
yeah,
you know,
the version of.
misdirection and stuff, but there is a lot of stuff coming out about how the last 3 years have been an absolute catastrophe, and these measures were terrible, and the lockdowns killed more people than COVID did, and the yes, there are quite a lot of people who are being harmed by the vaccine, and the excess death levels are really high.
Mm,
And then you look around and there's all these people that are just like, it is what it is.
I know.
And you're kind of like, so you're not angry that you've been lied to and misled by our government. You're not angry that millions of people are now, brutally psychologically damaged by all the things that, have done. You're not bothered that, millions of people have died. You just sweep it away. And I mean, that to me is absolutely infuriating. It's worse than the people that still hold the belief that
Yeah.
we were doing the right thing. If you believe we were doing the right thing, I mean, you're wrong, but
They believe it.
that's your belief.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But these people that can accept that the last 3 years has been an absolute catastrophe, and that so much wrongdoing has been done, and can actually just sit on that and be like, oh well.
I think they can't cope with it.
There is that,
Truth
and I do get
reality.
all the
I think it's just
I'm a
too.
very
It is
psychological person,
absolutely.
and I know,
It is
but
infuriating.
it is
I
absolutely
just.
infuriating. And
It's
so
the
you
apathy.
can become very much like, well, the world is fucked because nobody cares.
But they
Like,
do.
if nobody cares, nothing is going to get any better, is it? Do you know what I mean? If we're all just like, well, you know. But then, a big event like London, I mean, I'm useless at kind of guessing how many people were there. I have no idea. There were thousands, tens of thousands, perhaps. I don't know. But whenever people meet up on a massive scale like that, you are reminded, because for every person that's there, that there are lots more at home
Oh
that couldn't
yeah.
make it for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, personal circumstances, emotions, ill health, finances, all that kind of stuff, practicalities of actually getting to London. But so every one person that's there represents maybe 10 or more other people that couldn't be there. And you get this real kind of, just, there are lots of people who really do care enough to give up their Saturday to go and march through London in what started as a very, very wet day. Luckily, it did brighten up. But when I got up, it was chucking it down with rain. I was like, oh, God, I don't really want to be walking around London. I mean, I did. I took my umbrella, But yeah, being faced with all of these people who really do care kind of just gives you that. As long as there are people who care, as long as there are people who want to stand up and who actually want to affect positive change, regardless of whether what they're doing will actually result in positive change, that intention and that energy and that love is it
That's
is
what
such a
does
beautiful
change
thing to be.
things. It's
Yes.
not that from A to B, oh, you can see they did that and then that happened. No,
Yeah.
most of the time
Yeah.
not. But
No,
it
I'm of the
seems,
mind. I mean, I think, people say about, you're protesting to the government and they're not listening. And I kind of mean on that level, it may,
yeah,
it may not
exactly.
affect positive change on that
No,
actual level. But,
but
there
it
are many more
always,
levels that positive
yeah,
change is affected on. And actually, as I've said before, a lot of that comes down to us and how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to respond to the situations we're in. And so, you know, on that front,
mm,
it is down to all of us as individuals choosing to kind of try and make that difference. And I find it incredibly uplifting. And can you see I already feel more animated and more,
yeah,
just from
when you,
talking about it than I
it,
did
yeah,
sort of 10 minutes ago. Like, it really does make a difference to me, just being faced with so many beautiful people that care. So to everyone who did make it to London, and to everyone who was sort of sending support and joy and love on the day, I
mm,
love you and thank you, because yeah, keeps you going. It reminds you that no, we're not all doomed because we care.
yeah, that's
There
it.
are lots of us, lots and lots and lots
There
of us,
really
and we can't
are.
all be wrong,
There's
and we
more and
can't all
more.
fail.
There's more and more people starting to join the dots. I mean, it's I don't think we've not had this level of awareness. So I mean,
No.
obviously the tiger's cornered, so it's going to be lashing out, it's going to be at its most dangerous. But at the same time, there's just so exposed. I mean, we've got obviously there's the pandemic treaty you know, which is quite a big deal. But you know, I keep thinking, but so many people are now aware of the World Health Organization, and I mean, not enough, sure, but there's
No,
way more. I
I
mean,
do. There's because I mean I started a new job back in January, right at the beginning of January, and before that I was pretty much in an echo chamber where my life really did kind of just consist of, I mean, my family who don't necessarily all agree, and I kind of make sure I let them know what's going on. But you know, all of my friends and stuff are all people I've met through this, and who are, you know, wide awake to everything. And I think you do kind of get lulled into this false sense of security that there's lots of people that know what's going on. And then I go into the workplace and you talk to people, and then you're like,
ah.
okay, maybe not. uh, I've had quite a few people in the last couple of weeks be like, COVID's going back around the school again. COVID's back again. And I'm just like, no, please, please don't do this again. Like, why? Why? Can you not see? No, you've got a cold. You're all right.
Yeah,
And
that's
I do think actually, if I, you know, the vast majority of them, if I said, what do you think of the World Health Organization? I'm inclined to think that all but a handful of them would be like, yeah, they're good. They're looking
well,
after
hang
us.
on,
They're
let me
looking
just plug
after
my
our health
battery
needs.
in. Hang on a sec. Oh God.
And that would perhaps, you know, be inclined to think that giving them some more power in order to make decisions over our lives and our health and our
The thing
freedoms would
is,
would would be a good thing. And
but they were behind this is the thing, and I do get completely what you're saying, that you know, when we're talking about awareness, obviously it's nothing like anywhere near a majority,
mm,
but far more people didn't even know that there was a World Health Organization before this, or the WEF,
yeah,
things like that. And the fact is,
that's true.
you've got the WHO were the ones informing the governments all around the world. They are the ones who
Yes,
were, and
yes.
these things are getting out there more and more. I'm seeing articles, you know, in more mainstream, or maybe, you know, maybe it's not like full on exposes, but that are hinting at things. It just, we've said it time and time again, evil can't hide. It
No,
can't hide forever. It
not
becomes
forever.
more and more clear. And because we are moving into this other frequency, which is causing all kinds of discomfort for many of us, as we've been attesting to, it means that it can't remain hidden. We're now seeing, I mean, the 15-minute city thing and the ULEZ, and it's just imploding. It's
It's true.
it's all those things that are kind of integral parts of what they want to fabricate for us to be living within, are falling apart. And it's, you are seeing it being reported more widely. Like I did see an article, I think it was in the Daily Mail, so you know, whatever, but they do seem to stir the pot, don't they put these things out there, and I don't trust, but they're saying about, you know, the ULEZ cameras, um that they're
People are
being
doing
used.
wonderful things to the
Oh,
ULEZ
it's
cameras, aren't they?
fantastic. I know what my bags for life are going on now. Now I can't afford to fill them with shopping. Um, but the ULEZ cameras are, you know, it's data harvesting. They're just, you know, they're infringing on people's, you know, that's in the Daily Mail. It's all falling apart, all of this stuff, and I have faith that it will be the same, that people are just seeing through things on a much grander scale now.
I definitely think people are sort of softening in terms of their, you know, the people that have trusted the government, who have trusted, you know, our systems and our structures. And I do feel like the majority are softened in
Mm.
that, you know, they're no longer so quick to kind of dismiss what I have to say. I do have some very interesting discussions at work, and I don't miss an opportunity to, you know, just drop stuff into a conversation. But people certainly are softening. I think that's the only word for it. There's this, but I mean, the danger is, um, I think the danger is that they do kind of swing the other way,
Mm.
um, and sort of, because there's a lot of people they don't want to know. I think is the crux of the matter. They
No,
don't
they
don't
don't, but
want
they
to
will
accept
find out.
that
There's
everything
no
is.
getting away. There is no, and that's why I think with the things like we just see complete apathy until someone's life is physically affected mostly. Oh,
Yeah,
I can't go there, can't do that, I can't. These are restrictions on another level. This isn't because of some phony virus where it made sense to the people that believed in it. This is a whole other level. And I think, again, this doesn't mean we can rest on our laurels. Nothing changes there. But I do believe that the scales are falling. Like you say, people aren't so willing to just believe and go along with the
what they're told.
narratives that are being presented. And I do think, yeah, we can always take the view, oh, well, that's a psyop, so that's supposed to happen as well. And I just think, well, it's not going in their
Nothing's set in
favor.
stone,
It's not. And I
certainly.
don't think, the 15-minute cities are absolutely part of Agenda 30. This whole green agenda nonsense.
Mm,
It's very integral. All of these things are. So I think it is going wrong for them. There's massive opposition because people are starting to twig. That I think the thing that's missing at the moment is joining the dots.
mm.
The scamdemic. How does that tie into where we're at here, where it's ULEZ and 15-minute cities and it's electric cars and it's this, that, the other. Once those dots start to be joined up, then the whole thing goes. But we're not there. That's what's missing at the moment. But what we do have is people feeling very resentful about being told, yeah, what they're allowed to do, what's having their lives like really impacted, um, and people sliding into poverty. People that have been comfortable are starting to feel the squeeze, and it's really, people have to have their backs against the wall a lot of the time before they actually do snap out of it. Because as long as they're trundling along okay, and we've all been guilty of it in different
True. Yeah,
ways,
yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, as you know, and sort of anyone that is familiar with me, I am, eternally hopeful, and I believe, I kind of feel it in here, that actually, in the end, it's all going to be all right. Like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, we've got a way to go, and it's going to be, up and down, but
I
ultimately,
agree.
I don't think they succeed. Um,
No,
but I
it's not
do,
possible.
I do just, we can all within that sort of acknowledge the realities of where society is at. And I do from a psychological point of view, but I've always been driven to kind of try and understand people and groupthink and
Mm,
society and how people work. It really fascinates me. So I do sort of look around very much with a psychological eye on kind of what's happening and what avenues that could kind of take people down.
mm,
And I do kind of hope that we can nudge people into a place of empowerment, as opposed to, because as this all starts to crumble, we are then faced with a crossroads of either we are empowered to kind of go, well, I'm not taking this anymore, it's not on, and kind of rise up and take our power back, or we become disempowered with this sense of, you know, being fooled, being taken for a ride. The fact that, you know, society and our systems are all in disarray, it's all completely fucked. And we just sit there and go, well, what's the point? You know,
But
so we're sort of at this crossroads, and I kind of am of the mind that a lot of us may well be here to try and help us swing in the right direction by encouraging people to actually be empowered as opposed to disempowered,
but the
and
only
kind of
way
really,
you can do
it is
that,
the only way.
she said, squeezing tightly, poor little chap, is you have to be empowered yourself genuinely. That's what empowers others. You can say all the lovely words and the things that we ourselves want to hear because we're not feeling it ourselves. When you, this is what the work is. So it is for the benefit of all. When you transcend fear, you become something else. And that radiates and that draws people and they want to feel it as well. It's the ripple effect. And it's everybody is going to, whether it's in this lifetime or the next, is going to have to transcend all the fear to be able to emerge into this
I
other
agree, and but I don't.
beingness.
I think to empower others, you don't necessarily have to transcend it all the way. You just have to have a
No,
footing
no, but
on
you,
that ladder
it's the
to be kind
intention,
of, yeah,
because you
to
are still
acknowledge that you
it
need to get
doesn't mean
there.
that you're there, that you're some fully realized being, and until then you can't, you know, that you're not going to have any impact, of course not. But those of us who want to empower others are doing it because we know that we have to do this ourselves. So we know there's something to be empowered from. So yeah, we'll be sharing, we'll be doing all this stuff, but we know that in the end, it's the reason we're drawn to all of this stuff in the first place. It's because it's speaking to us and we want to share it, of course. But that's why, you know, it doesn't take every single individual doing this very, very tough, challenging work. Other people, they're just not being called to it. It's down to a few, and that's what creates that tide on which everything else is carried. And we can feel it happening, but it's choppy waters at times. But,
We're
wow.
running out of time.
Oh, that was a long
We've
one,
nattered again. We
actually.
were like this morning. We were like, "What are we going to talk about?" Because we're both still very much in a place that we've been talking about for weeks about just being. Oh, we were like, "Oh, I'm going to talk about." We've managed to natter our way. If you've made it through again, like,
Well
cheers.
done. God bless you.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Less than a minute. We're going to have to
Yes.
say our goodbyes and wish you a good week.
Yes.
Sending you all the love. Be
Yeah.
kind to yourself and
Do.
have a good one. Find the joy.
Yes.
Hold on to it. It's all going to be all right.
Lots of love to you all. Bye.